Imagine a room full of Catholics, Protestants, Jews, and Mormons all agreeing on the same issue.
That's what happened this week in Washington when leaders from different faiths gathered to fight what they called threats to their religious freedom. Jennifer Wishon has the story.
The raping of the soul. That's how one Christian leader describes what many see as the attack on the right of conscience and religious liberty in America.
There is a widespread feeling that something unusual is happening with regard to religious liberty in our country.
Some say it's the culmination of a decades-long process designed to eliminate religious people who don't subscribe to a liberal worldview. The breaking point appears to have come in January when the Obama administration announced all groups that provide health insurance must include coverage for birth control, the morning after pill, and sterilization, even organizations with religious objections. A number of Catholic and evangelical organizations have sued the administration.
Now we have an administration saying if you want to go out in the public square and help the poor or feed the hungry or cure the sick, you have to leave your religious beliefs. You have to check them at the door.
With concern growing, leaders from across the country gathered in Washington this week for the National Religious Freedom Conference. In a rare move, Christians, Jews, Muslims, Mormons, and other religious groups are joining forces to stop the trespasses against their freedoms.
I think it's happening because all the different religious communities recognize that a threat to one is a threat to all.
Professor George says Christians and other believers are facing animosity from secularists for standing for their religious beliefs in the public square, and he calls it an abuse to apply anti-discrimination laws to biblical views on sexual morality and traditional marriage.
That's an odd thing, since the very people who now condemn so many evangelical Christians and faithful Catholics for speaking publicly about their faith and acting on their faith in the public square would be the first to praise Dr. Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders who were people of faith who, acting on their religiously inspired convictions, went out into the public square and advocated for justice.
So what's the solution? They say to fight back. The goal is to organize religious freedom caucuses in all 50 state legislatures and to help lawmakers draft legislation that protects the right of conscience. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Washington.
It's one of those just sort of turning moments, if you will, in our nation's history, where the federal government for the first time is saying we have the right to dictate morality on insurance policies for religious institutions. It kind of boggles the mind that they would take that step, but they have. And if you believe in the free exercise of religious belief, now's the time to get involved. Now's the time for action. Lee Webb has the rest of our top stories from the CBN Newsroom. Lee?
Gordon, a federal jury has found a Muslim U.S. soldier guilty of plotting to kill fellow troops from Fort Hood. Nasser Abdo went AWOL from Fort Campbell, Kentucky last summer. He planned to bomb a restaurant in Texas full of Fort Hood soldiers and then stand outside to shoot survivors. A gun store manager thought Abdo was suspicious and reported him to police. A series of videos of Abdo talking to his mother in jail were played in court. She asked him why he planned the attack. He told her, "The reason is religion, Mom. There is no other reason." Abdo became a Muslim at the age of 17. Some people who get food stamps are pulling off a scam that's costing taxpayers millions of dollars. They're selling their benefit cards, then asking the government for new ones. The Agriculture Department wants to give states more authority now to investigate people who apply for more than 3 replacement cards a year. Food stamp fraud costs about $750 million every year. Many people see Memorial Day weekend, of course, as the unofficial start to summer, and according to AccuWeather, this year it's really going to feel like it. A heat wave is expected for the Midwest and East this weekend. That means high humidity and temperatures reaching close to 100 in some areas. Meteorologists warn that the heat could generate thunderstorms later in the weekend. And Gordon, we've already had 2 named tropical storms / tropical depressions, and we're a week away from the official start of hurricane season.
Well, I'm hanging my hat on the normal hurricane season forecast that just got issued last week, but we'll see. This Memorial Day, please remember the veterans. That's why we have this wonderful weekend. And if you know of any families of someone who's stationed in another country, reach out to them this weekend. They're going to be missing a father or a mother, and they need the support of the community with them.